So, Eileen, I've got a question for you.
You
I
do.
do. In our last conversation, I briefly mentioned the whole issue. We were talking about the usefulness of firm surfaces for chairs and not trying to force people into them. And as I said, not trying to force women not to wear high heels. So the subject of high heels came up. And there has been the, the, the connection between wearing high heels and the damage they cause and the Alexander technique has come up big time just over the last 4 or 5 days. Are you familiar with this little
I am.
internet? Yeah, and why don't you tell people what's happened and give some thoughts on the subject? Give your
Uh,
thoughts. But
there
tell
was,
people a little bit what's happened. This is Posh Spice, right?
yes, who's married to,
Beckham,
yes, the soccer player.
exactly.
And so there was an article in the Daily Mail in London about, I don't remember the title, but it was quite striking. Something like, do you remember? It was something like, uh,
Posh tour, something. Use the
it,
word
it some,
posh as in
well,
posture.
and also miraculous
Oh,
technique or something. It was quite elaborate.
oh, it had a little table that actually listed some of the well-known benefits of the technique, including one that was completely new to me. Do you you
Me
know which
too.
one
I
I'm?
know exactly
Why don't
which
you
one.
share with our
I
listeners?
believe that was the one they listed that women are more fertile.
Fertile, man,
Yes,
that
and I
is
hadn't heard that, and that would be a bad benefit because there would
no,
be a lot of women that don't necessarily want to be more fertile. Um,
exactly, exactly. On the
uh,
other hand, there are women who do want to be. I'm thinking of getting a website based on that. But anyway, um,
uh,
that it has raised that whole. It seems to me there are two big issues. One is the whole high heels thing, which we could do the technical talk on this, but there's also the the sort of the meta level conversation, which is uh, how is it that we're in a world where one person's trouble with high heels, who happens to be well connected and has Alexander lessons, can have such a gigantic impact on, say, the number of people visiting Alexander websites, doubled or tripled over a few day period. And this kind of thing happens from time to time. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon in itself. So, which would you like to talk about? The
well,
technical
let's talk
side?
about high heels.
The real topic, in other words. But we
Yes.
could come back to the other topic.
Yes. Well, I think, that would be something I'd like to hear your opinion on
Sure.
because, yeah,
But
you're
let's,
the
you tell us about high heels and
expert
why
in the
they're
industry.
not always the best thing to be wearing. What's your take on
Well,
it?
we could have a whole talk on shoes, and I think we should. I have a lot to say about shoes.
So you want to do a
So,
shoe talk.
not right now, though. We'll talk about high heels because that's our topic.
Okay. Well, what do you
But,
have to say about high heels?
well, first of all, we're all wearing them. Almost everyone.
Hmm.
We're all wearing them. You're wearing heels,
No, I'm not.
unless you're in your stocking feet right now.
Yes, I am.
Oh, well. When you put your shoes on to go outside, you're wearing heels.
That's true.
I'm wearing heels when I wear my running shoes.
But I
Uh,
think of my shoes as being pretty flat.
but they're not.
Hmm.
They're not. Have a look. They have heels. And it's not that we should be walking around with negative heels. I'm not a big fan of earth shoes.
No, me neither. Yeah.
Um, but but a nice level surface would be wonderful.
How about a
So
Tiva sandal that's absolutely flat?
Teva sandal, and there's these wonderful
There's
shoes
just
that
nothing
Alexander
there.
Teacher's son designed, called Vivo Barefoot.
Are they
At,
good?
oh, they're fantastic.
Mm.
They're Kevlar bottom, so a completely flexible.
Wow.
The material they make bulletproof vests out of, so you're not going to get cut on glass or anything. But a
Right.
very very thin bottom. It's very much like walking barefoot,
Wow.
and they're under www.terraplana.com.
Wow. Are
Uh,
you on their payroll?
I just think they're wonderful
Yeah.
shoes.
Do you have
But
some
but
yourself?
I do, I
Oh.
do. Um,
But so
so
getting back to high
anyway, so
heels.
getting back to high heels, um, there's there's no question high heels can look attractive on women's feet, and they do because they elongate the lower leg, by by making it look like it's, instead of standing on the toes, it looks like it just goes longer. And so that's the deal with high heels.
Hmm.
And there are some that are better than others in terms of not putting pressure on your feet. And there is a way to use yourself where you walk very well in high heels,
Oh,
and it's kind of
absolutely.
fun. It's actually, it can be really fun to do. It's almost like the pleasure of walking on the balls of your feet just for fun, and that can be really fun to do too.
So
But there's a way you.
almost like a performance, or not a circus performance, but just walking on stilts or something like that.
Yeah, but not
But
quite
no,
actually.
nowhere
There's
near as
actually
challenging.
there's a way you can use it to actually help your back,
Oh, okay.
and it's just it can be a delight to walk in heels. Except over time, it does put more pressure towards the front of your foot because the shoe usually is closed, or
Right.
quite often it's closed around the toes, or the straps that go over it end up getting a lot of pressure. And I don't know of any that are made very comfortably, but I imagine it's possible to make them like that. But it is not good to always wear them, or to wear them predominantly. Um, it's a little bit of time, okay. And you have to be so careful that they are shoes that are not too tight or narrow in the toes, because you can, even in 2 hours in shoes that are high heels and too tight or too narrow in the toes, you can actually get an injury that will last for months in the
Hmm.
joints of your toes. And then even in shoes that are a little closed in on the toes and high heels, if you wear them all the time, you can get bunions. You can get some, because most shoes have, they push the big toe over towards the other toes,
Hmm.
and put a so then you walk like that. You don't get to walk right through the ball of the big toe as you should, and right through the big toe is the last part of the step. So there would be a way to make them stylish and comfortable, though I think it's very rare to find that. Um,
Right. So
and there can
just
be a way to walk easily in them, although you really have to learn how to do that, because without that, it's really not good.
to me, tell me if you agree with this, but the bottom line is we're not telling people never to wear high heels. We're telling them if they are going to wear high heels to be very aware of what they're doing. And chances are, uh, I would say, to put a plug in for the Alexander technique, which is what we're all about here, Alexander technique would be a great way to get that awareness and learn to, if you do want to walk on them, or if you have to wear them for your job, if you're Ginger Rogers, how to do it well.
Right, and if you're Ginger Rogers, you can learn to walk gingerly in them.
Oh,
And I knew you would put in a good plug for the Alexander technique. You were a shoe in for that.
all right. Let's
It's a good
end
place
this
to quit.
conversation now. All righty.